Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day. Well, after months of waiting, it's finally here. Kaiju fans have finally got the first trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong, so I'm going to be breaking it down and giving my opinion on what might be happening in the latest installment in the MonsterVerse franchise. Before getting to that, Legendary and Warner Brothers released a brief plot synopsis along with the trailer that reads, Legends collide in Godzilla vs. Kong, as these mythic adversaries meet in a spectacular battle for the ages, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Kong and his protectors undertake a perilous journey to find his true home, and with them is Gia, a young orphaned girl with whom he has formed a unique and powerful bond. But they unexpectedly find themselves in the path of an enraged Godzilla, cutting a swath of destruction across the globe. The epic clash between the two titans, instigated by unseen forces, is only the beginning of the mystery that lies deep within the core of the Earth. So it's a pretty vague plot rundown. It doesn't tell us a whole lot, though it does hint at there being much more going on than just Kong fighting Godzilla. So anyway, let's dive into the actual trailer footage now. So it starts out with a city being destroyed by what appears to be either an eruption or a monster bursting out of the nearby mountain. We briefly see a kaiju of some sort in the background as people flee in terror. More on this scene at the end of this breakdown, though. We then cut to a shot of a fleet of ships, one of which is carrying the unconscious body of Kong. Here we get our first glimpse of a new character, Maya Simmons, played by Eiza Gonzalez, whom the actress describes simply as being a very smart woman behind a company, which doesn't exactly tell us a whole lot about her, but whatever. We get a couple more shots of Kong before cutting to the Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures logos. In the next scene, we see that Kong is awake and is chained to the ship in a way reminiscent of many of the previous Kong films, such as the 1933 original, as well as the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla. We're introduced to another new character called Nathan Lind, who's played by Tarzan himself, Alexander Skarsgård, who we know from previous interviews is a geologist who apparently works very closely with Kong. So his background likely means that he's deeply involved with the Hollow Earth plot point from the Skull Island film. And in these scenes, he provides a bit of narration stating that this is our only chance, we have to take it, we need Kong, the world needs him to stop what's coming. We then are taken to what appears to be Skull Island, where we meet a small child named Gia, whom Lind informs us is the only one that Kong will communicate with. We don't really know a whole lot about this mysterious girl aside from her connection to Kong and that she's an orphan. Whether she's a member of the Iwi tribe from Skull Island is also unknown, and if she is, does that mean that the rest of her people are wiped out? Guess we'll find out when the movie comes out. Having Kong have a human connection is very true to his character, though he usually prefers blondes. But this connection with a child is something different for his character. It seems more in line with Mothra or Gamera than Kong, although it does fit the story and is a common theme in a number of other kaiju films. Throughout this sequence, we get narration from another new character called Eileen Andrews, played by Rebecca Hall, who appears to be a monarch scientist who seems to have taken in Gia, acting as her adopted mother of sorts. In the next scene, Godzilla's spines can be seen coming up out of the water as he heads directly for the ship containing Kong, cutting a ship in two and destroying a number of aircraft along the way. Kong challenges him and Godzilla emerges from the water like a crocodile, and what is presumably their first battle begins. An interesting observation that many are making is that Kong's collar seems to also contain several canisters containing some sort of green liquid, which could be anything from a sedative to some sort of growth serum or stimulant or who knows what, but something's going on there. Kong punches Godzilla and shoulder checks him off the ship back into the water, but Godzilla manages to destroy Kong's ship with his atomic breath, which forces him to leap into the water, which may not bode well for him if the fight continues beyond this point. I just gotta say a note here that while the music when Godzilla first emerges in the trailer is very reminiscent of the 2014 soundtrack, it quickly shifts into this generic hip-hop song, which I can't say I'm terribly fond of. However, it is worth noting that this will likely not be part of the soundtrack, since Junkie XL, who scored Fury Road and Zack Snyder's Justice League, is helming the score for this film. So don't expect anything to sound like that in the actual finished film. We briefly see a couple new characters here, with Damian Bashir's character Walter Simmons uttering the line, "These are dangerous times," followed by a very short clip of Ren Serizawa, who's played by Shun Oguri. And the timing of these clips might be due to their connection to other characters in the franchise, with Walter Simmons seemingly being the father of Maya Simmons, and this new Ren character likely being a relation to Ken Watanabe's character, the late Dr. Serizawa, from the previous two Godzilla films. We get a brief montage of Godzilla destroying cities while being reintroduced to Dr. Mark Russell, played once again by Kyle Chandler, as he states that Godzilla is hurting people and we don't know why, which again reiterates the plot point that Godzilla appears to be the antagonist in the film. This is followed up by some more characters, including the return of Millie Bobby Brown, reprising her role as Chandler's daughter Madison, who says that there's something provoking him that we're not seeing here. This seems to line up with the vague plot synopsis that stated that the showdown between Godzilla and Kong may be instigated by unseen forces. The scene with her in the van along with newcomers Julian Dennison and Brian Tyree Henry gave me a bit of a Godzilla 2000 vibe, where the main characters in that film followed Godzilla around in a van, tracking his movements and studying him as part of their Godzilla prediction network, and I wonder if something similar isn't happening here. We see more footage of Kong either in Skull Island or perhaps even the Hollow Earth, with Rebecca Hall's character informing us that there was an ancient war and that the myths are real, which is juxtaposed with footage of Kong with an enormous battle axe and fighting two giant flying cobra-like monsters, which we know from the toy line is called Warbat. If this is indeed the Hollow Earth, then they are likely coming from the same ecosystem that spawned the Skullcrawlers from the previous Skull Island film, and may also be Kong's true home mentioned in the plot synopsis. The scene of Kong beating a Warbat to death with another Warbat is ridiculously awesome and reminds me of those old-timey Man's Life Adventure magazine covers. For the rest of the trailer, we see Kong and Godzilla squaring off as we are informed that he bows to no one. Kong battling some other bat-like creatures, and then finally Kong wielding his battle axe to block and absorb Godzilla's heat ray before bashing him in the head with it. This is a scene that, to me, seemed very reminiscent of Thor's showdown with Thanos in Infinity War. Overall, music choices aside, I think this was a very well-made trailer that actually asks more questions than it answers, and since the film is being released in almost exactly 2 months from now, I actually hope this is the only one we get, since I'm afraid if they reveal any more, they will risk spoiling the film in a similar way that King of the Monsters was mostly spoiled by its promotional material. As it stands now, we already have a couple of major spoilers in this trailer, which I'll get into now, so anyone that doesn't potentially want the film spoiled should probably click away now. Okay, so here's my big complaint with this trailer, in the spoiler regard, is that the opening scene, the very first scene in the trailer with the monster attacking the city, seems to be potentially the biggest spoiler of all, as after further inspection from myself and many other people who have already reviewed this trailer, it seems the monster shown here is probably Mechagodzilla, given the metallic nature of the kaiju and the red glowing effect. And it should be noted that Godzilla has some red energy coming off of him leading up to his fight with Kong as well, which has led many to believe that the Godzilla seen in these clips, at least in some of the scenes, is actually Mechagodzilla in disguise. Another possibility is that it could be residual energy from the Burning Godzilla sequence from King of the Monsters, but the Godzilla being disguised as Mechagodzilla thing is definitely something that has precedence in the series. So for people who may not be aware, Mechagodzilla's first appearance in 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla also spent a good portion of the film disguised as Godzilla, committing various acts that were uncharacteristic for him, leading a number of the lead characters to question what was wrong with him, just like in this trailer. Also, that film featured an apocalyptic prophecy as well, which also seems to be heavily implied in this trailer, so in a way, this movie could turn out to be just as much a remake of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla as it is a remake of King Kong vs. Godzilla, with Kong sort of taking the role of King Shisaw from that movie. To further cement the Mechagodzilla theory, the sequence that reveals Ren Serizawa also seems to show a mechanical schematic behind him that also looks an awful lot like Mechagodzilla. And if anyone needs further proof, the Playmates official toy line, which so far has been surprisingly accurate, leaked several Mechagodzilla figures as being part of the lineup quite a ways back. It has also been revealed on the Internet Movie Database page for Godzilla vs. Kong that the cast list includes a number of people that are part of a new organization called Apex that appears to be some kind of cybernetics company. At this time, it is unknown how this company relates to either Monarch or the eco-terrorists from Godzilla King of the Monsters. As of yet, there doesn't seem to be any indication that any of the other Titans from the previous film will be making an appearance, which I think is odd, considering they essentially established them as a major plot point in the previous movie, but then all of a sudden they just happen to go into hiding again. But who knows, maybe a few of them will make an appearance in this film as well. I would especially like to see Rodan or Mothra return, since the post-credit scene in King of the Monsters implied that a second egg had been discovered. I'm also curious to see if the Ghidorah head that was recovered at the end of the previous film will play any role in this movie. Well, that's all for this breakdown, so if you liked what you heard, press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know if you're Team Kong or Team Godzilla in the comments section below as well, and your thoughts on the trailer, and if there's anything else you'd like me to cover in the future. Take care, and thanks for watching. Bye.